carried to her first #1 hit thanks to Morgan Wallen, signed to the exact same management team as Harry Styles, and a worldwide publishing deal with Sony before even turning 18. As it often does in music, watching Tate McRae rise to stardom this fast has sparked viral claims that she is an industry plant, the simple result of a record label. However, are these rumors actually true? Is Tate McRae really a manufactured artist?
And then I got contacted by 11 labels, flew out to New York, and it kind of just started from there.
Or instead, like she says, are these posts just the internet's latest attempt to tear down a successful young woman? If you want me to be honest though, no artist is ever gonna confess to being an industry plant, seen as like a free ticket to fame by getting shoved down fans' throat for profit. On one hand, it's easy to see where these comments are coming from. If you're not familiar with her and her come-up, simply seeing her face take over the internet and her name shoot up to the top of Billboard charts, plus the fact that she has over 50 million monthly listeners on Spotify, can make it confusing how all this happened so fast. But yet, as it turns out, Tate's first big break wasn't even through music.
Up next, the Dance Awards stage, we have number 271. Let's give a warm welcome to Tate McRae with Anna's Suitcase.
Long before her first record deal, Tate McRae started making a name for herself in a totally different lane of entertainment, on the dance floor. Inspired by her mother, who owned a local dance studio in their hometown of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, while her brother was big into hockey, going on to play D1 at Ivy League's Dartmouth University. Meanwhile, for his younger sister, Tate Rosner McRae, after beginning to take dance lessons at just 6 years old, dance became her entire childhood.
Hi, my name is Tate McRae. I'm 10 years old. I'm from Calgary, Alberta.
As a kid, Tate was forced to move around often due to her father being a lawyer for oil and gas companies. Once returning back to Calgary and then really taking dance seriously at age 8 thanks to some help from her mom, this was the point when Tate McRae's dance career exploded. From winning the award for Junior Best Dancer at the Dance Awards in both 2015 and 2016, the silver medal at the 2015 Youth America Dance Grand Prix, and then landing performance spots during both the Teen Choice Awards as well as Ellen, which she would later return for as an actual guest only 6 years later.
What's it like to finally sit down in the chair?
I remember actually sitting in these chairs when I was like 12, thinking like, this would be crazy to come here one day. Yeah, it feels really weird. It's crazy.
Even Tate could have never imagined reaching the heights she has today. However, back in 2016 though, things just kept getting better for her dance career. Along with placing third on the Fox TV reality show So You Think You Can Dance, going home as the top female in the competition.
Thank you everyone for all of your support. I'm a little bit emotional and I'm sorry, but I need to thank my family, my friends, and my mentor, Catherine.
That same year also came her cameo in this Walk Off the Earth dance video for Rule the World, which, as one fan puts it, crazy to think that now 9 years later, this girl has a #1 hit song. Yet 2016 still wasn't finished. To top off a phenomenal year, at just 12 years old, Tate McRae was able to perform on stage with, quote, one of her favorite artists and fellow Canadian, Justin Bieber, getting picked as a backup dancer for Justin's Purpose World Tour stop in Calgary.
First gig you went to, I think it was actually a Justin Bieber concert, because it was my first concert I'd ever been to. It was really cool because he did this thing where he would pick dancers every city, so I actually got to perform on stage at my first concert. It was really cool.
And what's your name?
Tate McRae.
Tate McRae. That's a pretty sick name. Great job. Pick it up for Tate McRae. What's your name?
This was obviously the first time Justin Bieber had ever met Tate McRae. But despite being impressed by her name, little did either of them know that 8 years later they'd be watching Coachella together. So how did this young dancer become a star? Well, to start, Tate knew that simply dancing would not be enough. And with an interest in music ever since her grandpa bought her piano when she was 6, back in 2011, Tate McRae decided to launch her own YouTube channel. And before racking up the 6 million subscribers she has today, originally this channel was going to strictly be for her dance videos. That was until one day, which changed everything.
I wanna see the world next door. I wanna see my face. I wanna see another place, another face.
Her first attempt at composing and singing her own song, reads the YouTube description, she figured out GarageBand. One day I didn't have anything to post, so I was like, what am I going to do? The first thing that came to mind was a song, so I put it out there. But besides posting a few cover songs and of course more dance videos over the next few years, in 2017 Tate would start a new series called Create with Tate on her channel. The idea was simple. Each week, she would post a new short little vlog for her followers, where she sings an original song in her room.
What's up guys, it's Tate here, and today I'm doing something really exciting for me. If you guys do not know, I'm a singer and I love to write songs. I've really found that it's something that I truly love to do. So yeah, this song that I'm about to sing for you guys is something I whipped up last night in like an hour.
But besides the 40 million views this first episode currently sits at, this song titled One Day that she, quote, whipped up in an hour is also certified gold in Canada, marking Tate McRae's first ever certification for music. A year later, Tate's YouTube channel had shot past 2 million subscribers, and people were obviously loving her videos. And combined with releasing these early tracks, such as Kids Are Alright,
Yeah, it's messed up, you know, so many highs and roller coaster lows.
clearly we can see that Tate McRae was able to build a name for herself far before any music industry help came her way. Or at least, so it appeared. At this point though, Tate was still nowhere near the star that she is today. And as it turns out, it's what happened next that ignited the industry plant allegations. With her social media accounts exploding, as you could guess, record labels could not help but take notice. With, as she says, no less than 11 different labels contacting her and her parents, soon enough, Tate McRae was flying out to New York for label meetings. She decided to sign with RCA Records in August of 2019 at only 16 years old. Now with the help of a major label like RCA Records backing her, in January of 2020 then came Tate McRae's debut EP, All the Things I Never Said. And among the 5 tracks is this one titled Tear Myself Apart, which wasn't actually written by Tate, but rather by Billy and Phineas.
It was my first ever song with RCA Records, and I didn't actually write the song, but Billy and Phineas did. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of both of them. I love them both and their writing, so it was just a kind of a surreal process. And then I got to meet Billy and Phineas at a show in LA, and we talked about it, and it was a really cool experience overall.
As a lot of you probably know, ghostwriters are pretty common though in today's music industry, especially in pop. However, what went down next had never been seen. Following the release of her first EP, Tate McRae embarked onto her first ever headlining tour that same month. But despite all 5 of her debut shows selling out, with countless more cities to hit on the schedule, instead, sadly Tate found herself back at her parents' house in Canada. But although the COVID lockdown would put an abrupt end to many artists' plans in 2020, Tate McRae and her team were still determined to keep her momentum rolling, continuing to stick to her previous strategy the best they could, and heavily using TikTok to their advantage. It was actually right at the start of the pandemic when Tate McRae released her first big hit.
You know, I started releasing music, it was going really well, and then I got sent back to Canada in like March last year, and I remember I was like just about to release You Broke Me First, and my label was like, all right, now you gotta create a music video. And I was like, it's literally me and my parents at home, how am I gonna do this?
Once again, she was forced to be creative. I drove up to this rooftop with my friends and taped my phone to the front of my mom's car and propped it up with tissue boxes. I pointed the phone towards the sky with a bit of me in the frame, then my friend drove backwards down the roof as I sang. Sitting at over 300 million views, it's safe to say this idea worked. And besides becoming Tate's first ever single to chart on the US Billboard Hot 100, this breakout hit led to her first press run as a singer.
Hey guys, it's Tate McRae here, and today we're performing You Broke Me First on Jimmy Kimmel.
Receiving all of these major placements, some users on the internet could only attribute this to her label. Because, again, if you hadn't really been following her, she kinda did appear out of nowhere. But that's normal for a new artist with a hit, correct? Well, as the year of 2020 came to a close, these rumors got way worse. In December of 2020, it was announced that Tate McRae had officially signed a worldwide publishing deal with Sony Entertainment. Yet, this article kept going. We started working with Tate when she was 15, said Dirk Heemseth, who is CEO of Hard 8 Working Group, from the Nashville-based artist management firm, which was only 18 months ago. Even then, we knew she was an accomplished dancer, a great singer, and a fantastic songwriter. As we're about to answer in a sec, depending on your definition of an industry plant, up to this point, many users found Tate McRae's rise suspicious. And although we'll also see her direct answer to this accusation, even she admits it was not normal how fast she blew up.
I started a YouTube channel when I was 13. Started posting original songs, and then got signed by label, and it kind of just all happened really fast.
Absolutely.
But another fact to consider is that she again blew up right during COVID, adding to her already unique background. However, despite her newfound social media popularity, Tate McRae still had a deal in place with her parents to stay in school and get good grades. Thus, going on to graduate from Western Canada High School in 2021, with high school out of the way, the stage was now set for RCA Records' next star to take over. And take over she did. In addition to being named to almost every single artist to watch list in 2021, including Apple Music, which, if it's anything like rappers though, might low-key be a curse, in March of 2021 came the release of Tate McRae's second EP, Too Young to Be Sad. And besides debuting at number 94 on Billboard, led by You Broke Me First, this 6-track EP was actually crowned as Spotify's most streamed EP by a female artist in 2021.
It's a very crazy feeling releasing my EP, Too Young to Be Sad. The title of this project was kind of inspired by my brain mentality, not wanting to waste my years dwelling on things that might not matter in a couple years.
By the end of the year, Tate McRae was featuring on songs with mainstream pop names, including Khaled and Black Bear. And not to mention her team also landing huge collaborations on the business side, such as Tate officially becoming Maybelline's latest brand ambassador. At this point, all that was left was her debut album, arriving in the spring of 2022 under the title I Used to Think I Could Fly, receiving for the most part positive reviews and peaking at number 13 in the US. However, it was Tate's next move which shot her to stardom. In what looking back was a blessing in disguise, Tate McRae was originally slated to go on tour and open up for Shawn Mendes in 2022. That was until this happened.
Now to singer Shawn Mendes, who's canceling his world tour to focus on his mental health. The singer's taking some time off so he can, quote, come back stronger.
Shawn Mendes decided to cancel this world tour, but while let down, Tate McRae would then go the next 11 months without releasing any new music, instead locking in the studio. Taking a break like this could have very well proved to be costly for her career. However though, when she finally came back, the exact opposite took place. Described as, quote, a new chapter of her music, or by Billboard as a successful example of a TikTok-focused promotional plan. Following weeks of spam snippet videos, in September of 2023, then came the release of what still remains today, Tate McRae's most streamed song, Greedy.
I would want myself, baby, please believe me. I will put you through hell, just to know me, yeah. So sure of yourself, baby, don't get greedy.
With also a new music video set in an empty hockey arena while she wears goalie pads. Remember, not only is her own brother a D1 hockey player, but as she also explains,
My family's just been into hockey like our whole life. I've been around hockey, and my new music video for Greedy is at a hockey rink, so all of it kind of connects together.
If you were yet to hear a Tate McRae song by this point, then Greedy was likely your first, with her heavy auto-tune singing dominating the radio, on its way to peaking at number 3 in the US and now 4-time platinum certification. Written by McRae alongside veteran industry songwriters Amy Allen, Jasper Harris, plus OneRepublic lead singer Ryan Tedder.
She is more or less a professional athlete prior to being a professional recording artist. So she attacks and approaches music like someone who is a Division I athlete.
This pop summer hit, Greedy, would go on to serve as the lead single for her second album, Think Later, also including her successful follow-up track, X's. Although Tate McRae was becoming the internet's favorite new pop girl, not everyone was impressed.
Like, for one, the title, Think Later, I don't know, maybe thinking in the moment would have led to the realization that black panties and a black spaghetti string top wouldn't exactly read against a black background. Plus, we have hockey goalie gear, but just the leg pads. The singing is processed to hell and feels like I'm listening to not a person, but a pop robot. This album sounds like it came out of a lab, not a music studio.
When y'all talk about industry plants, y'all don't bring up Tate McRae enough, one fan tweets. Watching Greedy go viral, of course, only ignited these rumors all over again, especially after this news broke. As Billboard tells it, the biggest shift for her career came when she signed a new management deal with Full Stop Management, which is not only home to Harry Styles, but also more than 40 other high-profile clients, such as Cardi B, John Mayer, and Gwen Stefani, to name a few. My true fans knew that I danced, but it was finally for the first time like, is she an industry plant? Tate questioned at 20 years old. And with viral posts continuing to flood her timeline, I cannot do Twitter, she admits. Twitter is the scariest place on earth. My biggest advice is never search her name on Twitter. And it's so funny because people just love to go in on young women. Whenever they do something in the industry, it's them who are the first to get picked apart. Now, Tate McRae is right when saying she's by no means the first female pop artist to be called out as an industry plant. From others such as Billie Eilish or Tyla, who I actually already covered previously on my channel. However, at the same time, men have also been labeled as industry plants arguably just as much. But regardless, at this point Tate McRae tried her best to ignore all this viral discourse, and focus on what she could control. thus continuing her promotional run all over our screens, including performances on SNL, multiple different award shows, and even the 2024 NHL All-Star Game in Toronto, which was hosted by none other than Justin Bieber, bringing Tate McRae's story full circle.
But you reconnected with him, though, recently. Did you guys talk about that? Were you like, oh, yeah, I jumped on stage?
You know, he did bring it up. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, please never bring that up again.
But in addition to then also confirming her new relationship with fellow star singer The Kid Laroi, after breaking up with her ex-Columbus Blue Jackets hockey player boyfriend, no matter where you looked, Tate McRae was everywhere. So, to capitalize on this hype, then began the rollout for her next album, starting with a very interesting new music video. Tate McRae's It's Okay, I'm Okay and its music video went on to be the lead single for her third album, featuring another new hit, Sports Car, and her first collab with boyfriend Kid Laroi. Released in February of 2025, So Close to What would officially go down as Tate McRae's first #1 album, selling an impressive 177K first week units.
So you're gonna go, hit your hip.
Oh, God.
You're gonna go.
Already I can't do this. Okay.
You can do it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So you go, I don't want them hit.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hit.
Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang.
With just about everything going as planned for her career in the best way possible, after beginning her Miss Progressive first ever arena tour, last month in May came arguably Tate McRae's biggest look to date. When news of Tate McRae's new collaboration with country superstar Morgan Wallen first hit the internet, both fan bases were completely split, citing Morgan Wallen's past actions in the media. However, their controversial What I Want has proved to be an absolute smash, debuting at #1 on Billboard, which I suppose is pretty standard for Morgan Wallen by now. But for Tate McRae, this marked her first #1 single of her career. And although some people will see this and instantly point to her record label to thank, as we're about to see, there's actually a deeper reason behind how this collab came about. But the month of May was still getting better. With her new single Just Keep Watching, released from the upcoming F1 movie soundtrack, Tate McRae is officially the teen dance star turned future pop idol. Yet, our overall question here still remains. Is Tate McRae an industry plant? We just learned that her rise to fame was unlike anything we'd ever really seen. But how much is she to actually credit? To be honest, the term industry plant gets thrown around so often in today's era. And to make things worse, depending on who you ask, everyone will have a totally different meaning of the phrase. To some, an industry plant is an artist that is a pure product of the industry, marketed from the start simply to make labels money. But meanwhile, for others though, industry plants are someone who came out of nowhere and found what looks to be overnight success. The truth is, whether or not you want to actually call Tate McRae an industry plant, there is no doubt that she has had a lot of help getting to where she's at. However, if that's all your criteria is for an industry plant, well then by that definition, almost every single popular artist out right now is a plant. Because at the end of the day, this is basically how the music industry works. A label finds a young talent, and then markets them in the right positions to hopefully be successful.
I personally don't really care whether she's an industry plant, and I don't think anyone else should. Because if you're just now catching on to the fact that pop stars and actors, actresses alike are planted at a very chosen, calculated time and place for their own specific purposes, then I don't know what to tell you.
Sure, some artists are pushed a lot heavier, and their come-ups can be more disguised as organic, but in Tate McRae's case, she has simply played her cards correctly and took every proper step for her career, such as partnering with Harry Styles' management team. And contrary to popular belief, when it comes to Tate's first #1 hit with Morgan Wallen, this was not the result of her record label just pulling strings behind the scenes, but rather instead because Morgan Wallen's sister is a big fan. My sister turned me on to Tate and her music a few years ago, and I've been a fan ever since, Wallen told Billboard. She is a true pop star, a prolific songwriter, and also an extremely underrated vocalist. At still the very young age of 21 years old, as we just learned, Tate McRae has been working extremely hard since she was a little kid to get where she is today. However, when asked directly about these industry plant claims, I'm like, I've been grinding since 13 years old. I'm probably the furthest thing from an industry plant for how long I've been doing this.
This is what you sign up for. It's going to happen. You're also putting yourself on display, so you can't really complain. But I do think you just can't look. You're not supposed to hear that many opinions about yourself. You're not supposed to think about that many people knowing you. That's just not easy to comprehend. I think all you can do is make art, put it out there, make more art, put it out there, and keep being creative.